In 2021, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sat down with Oprah Winfrey and delivered a set of revelations that rocked the British monarchy to its core. The broadcast didn't just make headlines. It reshaped the global conversation around the royal family and left a permanent mark on pop culture. Now, years later, Oprah has finally opened up about what really happened behind the scenes, before, during, and after that legendary sit-down. The interview became the most-watched television event of 2021, drawing wildly different reactions from audiences around the world. After staying quiet for years, Oprah has decided it's time to tell her side of the story. Long before the couple ever sat in front of her cameras, Oprah had actually tried to interview Meghan back in 2018, an offer Meghan declined at the time. That request came roughly 2 years before Harry and Meghan made their dramatic exit from royal duties. It wasn't until later that Oprah began working her connections behind the scenes, laying the groundwork for what would eventually become one of the most talked-about interviews in modern history. When the moment finally arrived, Oprah was determined to keep things authentic. She has said that neither Harry nor Meghan were given any questions in advance, and that even her own network's executives and production staff had no idea what would be said on camera. Every reaction, she insists, was completely spontaneous. Her goal, she explained, was simply to hand the couple a platform where they could tell their story in their own words. What she didn't anticipate was just how explosive the public response would be. Criticism poured in from every direction, not just aimed at Harry and Meghan, but Oprah herself, with some accusing her of lobbing softball questions instead of pressing for harder answers. Oprah's defense was that she never expected the couple to be so open, so her approach was to ask broad questions and let them speak without interruption. Whatever the criticism, the interview remains one of the most talked-about moments in recent entertainment history. So how did a media billionaire and a former American actress pull off the biggest royal exclusive in decades? The story actually begins back in May 2018, at the royal wedding held at Windsor Castle, where Oprah was a guest. Her attendance made headlines at the time, but few realized that she and Meghan had only actually met in person once before that day. In the months that followed, British tabloids ramped up increasingly harsh coverage of Meghan, and Oprah used her platform to publicly push back, defending Meghan's character during several high-profile television appearances. When Harry and Meghan stepped back from their royal roles in early 2020 and relocated to Montecito, California, they found themselves living near Oprah, who calls the same area home. Their relationship soon extended beyond friendship and into business, as Harry and Oprah teamed up to co-produce a mental health docuseries for Apple TV titled The Me You Can't See. That collaboration cemented their working relationship months before the now-famous interview ever aired. Once Harry and Meghan were ready to talk on camera, Oprah still had secured the American broadcast rights. Behind closed doors, her production company, Harpo Productions, ran the negotiations tightly, locking in strict legal protections and non-disclosure agreements. The team also made the deliberate decision to cut British royal correspondence out of the process entirely, instead placing the story in the hands of American media to maximize its global reach. That set the stage for an eventual bidding war that would upend the broadcasting industry. As American media outlets sensed the scale of public interest and the growing backlash aimed at Meghan, networks scrambled to cash in. CBS won the race, paying somewhere between $7 and $9 million to secure the U.S. broadcast rights from Harpo Productions. Once the special aired, CBS charged advertisers a jaw-dropping $325,000 for a single 30-second commercial spot, roughly double the normal prime time rate. Even at that price, every ad slot sold out almost immediately. Neither Harry nor Meghan accepted payment for participating, something Oprah made a point of clarifying at the start of the broadcast. But CBS's rights were limited to the United States. To distribute the interview internationally, Viacom-CBS Global Distribution Group launched an aggressive bidding war overseas, eventually selling the UK rights to broadcaster ITV for more than £1 million. That deal triggered outrage across the British media landscape, with critics accusing an American company of profiting from what many considered a national institution. The timing made things worse. CBS aired the interview while Prince Philip, then 99 years old, was hospitalized recovering from major heart surgery. Royal family supporters and critics alike condemned the decision, arguing it prioritized profit over sensitivity to the family's health crisis. Despite the backlash, the broadcast went ahead as planned. The gamble paid off commercially. The interview drew more than 60 million viewers worldwide, becoming one of the most watched interviews ever and a massive financial win for everyone involved in producing and distributing it, even as the royal family was left to manage the fallout back in London. Despite the astronomical financial stakes, the actual production was run with extreme secrecy. Most viewers assumed the interview was filmed in Oprah's backyard or at Harry and Meghan's California residence. In reality, it took place at an undisclosed private estate belonging to a mutual friend. The production team used the strict COVID-19 safety protocols of 2021 to their advantage, using pandemic rules as legitimate cover to lock down the property and keep paparazzi, journalists, and royal staff far away from the set. Oprah kept a tight grip on the interview process itself, deliberately withholding her line of questioning from the couple's publicist beforehand. That secrecy, she believed, allowed her to capture unscripted, authentic reactions when she asked harder questions. The full conversation ran far longer than what audiences eventually saw, more than 3.5 hours of raw footage. Oprah's team spent days trimming it down into the roughly 85-minute special that ultimately aired. And it was one unscripted line, buried in that edited footage, that would end up echoing all the way to Buckingham Palace. Before Harry joined the conversation, Oprah spent time speaking with Meghan alone. Meghan described how she'd been trained to respond with no comment whenever asked about tension with the royal family. Sensing an opening, Oprah leaned in and asked a pointed, binary question. Were you silent or were you silenced? By framing the question that way, Oprah eliminated any room for a neutral, diplomatic non-answer. Meghan didn't hesitate. Her response, the latter, was simple, but it landed as a direct accusation against the palace's communications operation, suggesting royal aides had actively silenced her. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. TikTok, X, and Instagram filled with reaction videos, and the moment quickly became an internet meme used far beyond its original royal context. Over time, that short exchange grew into something bigger than a viral clip. It became something like a rallying phrase for the entire Sussex brand, symbolizing the couple's break from royal life and their push to control their own narrative. But the meme moment overshadowed some far more serious claims made during the broadcast, claims that would go on to trigger a genuine institutional crisis for the royal family. The most explosive moment came when Meghan discussed conversations that reportedly took place within the family during her pregnancy with Archie. She claimed there had been discussions about how dark her son's skin might be, and that those conversations were tied to questions about whether he would receive a royal title or security detail. Meghan also spoke candidly about a mental health crisis she experienced during that same period, saying she had suicidal thoughts while pregnant, and that when she sought inpatient psychiatric care, Palace Human Resources denied a request out of concern for how it would look publicly. She also used the platform to correct long-standing tabloid narratives, including the widely circulated story that she had made Kate Middleton cry over bridesmaid dresses before the royal wedding. Meghan said the opposite was true, that Kate had made her cry, and later apologized with flowers. The couple also made a surprising claim about their wedding, saying they had secretly married in a private backyard ceremony with the Archbishop of Canterbury 3 days before their televised public wedding. That claim was later disputed, with official records showing their legal marriage took place at Windsor Castle. When Harry joined the conversation, he described his own strained relationship with the monarchy, revealing that his father, Prince Charles, had cut off his financial support and stopped returning his calls for weeks after the couple relocated. Harry drew a direct comparison between the media pressure Meghan faced and the coverage that had surrounded his mother, Princess Diana, before her death. The fallout split public opinion sharply along geographic lines. In the United States, much of the audience sympathized with Harry and Meghan, viewing them as victims of an unfair system. In Britain, a large portion of the public saw the interview as a coordinated attack on a historic institution. Some viewers on both sides also questioned the optics of the timing, noting that wealthy public figures airing personal grievances from a California state fell out of touch while much of the world was dealing with pandemic lockdowns and job losses. In the UK, media tensions boiled over almost immediately. TV host Piers Morgan famously walked off the set of Good Morning Britain after clashing with A.